Now let's go to Poland, where the leader of a women's rights group has warned the government to withdraw the recent court ruling on abortions or face more unrest. For nearly 2 weeks, thousands of protesters have taken over streets across the country, contesting the effective ban on nearly all abortions. It's triggered the Prime Minister to appeal for talks with the protest organisers and leaders of the opposition. Barbara Nowacka is a Polish opposition MP and abortion rights activist, and she joins us out of Warsaw. Barbara, really good to have you on the programme.
My pleasure.
Did the Prime Minister expect this backlash?
I don't think they expected. It's not only Prime Minister. One thing is important to say that since right-wing party took power in 2015, there were constant attempts to ban the abortion and attacks on human rights. There were attacks on the LGBT community and on women's rights and on the Istanbul Convention, which secures women that are the victims of domestic violence. But these days, they decided not to do by their own hands, but send the abortion bill to Constitutional Tribunal. Constitutional Tribunal is completely taken over by a ruling party, and its verdict caused that abortions in Poland are illegal. And they never expected that during pandemic time, where situation of our healthcare system is critical, women and the younger generation would walk on the streets massively. We have now protests in more than 400 cities and hundreds of thousands of people joining the protests.
So, Barbara, when you talk about the fact that it was handed to this tribunal instead of doing it politically through the parliament, what does it mean for rolling it back?
Well, it means a big problem because due to what was said by Constitutional Tribunal, abortion in Poland should be totally banned. And you have now the groups of right extremists, of right-wingers, extremists saying, okay, so if it is banned, it should be also banned when it's case of rape or crime. So what was actually in Australia, in Ireland a few years ago. And then you have people on the streets shouting, we want liberalization. So what government can do, well, Constitutional Tribunal should do is just to say that that was not a verdict. But Polish Constitutional Tribunal was actually elected semi-legally 3 years ago. The establishment of this has a lot of question marks also under EU law. So government is in a very difficult position. President proposed a semi-complete ban, saying that in his bill there will be a list of diseases that would lead to legal abortion, but no one actually, neither in opposition nor in streets or even in Law and Justice, wants to debate this bill.
Of course, we know Poland is a very Catholic society, but is the Catholic side of things struggling to keep up with the social changes within the community?
Well, of course, Poland is a Christian Catholic country, and more than 90% of citizens are saying they're Christian Catholics. But now they're on the streets shouting against government and against the influence of Christian Catholic Church. Bishops, of course, would stand against abortion as everywhere, but then you have voices also of the bishops and the priests saying that at least in a very critical and dramatical situation, women should have a right to choose, shouldn't be actually tortured due to United Nations regulations and laws. So a very complex situation also for Christian Catholic Church, but we as pro-choice movement would say the only one possibility to calm down the atmosphere and to rebuild a social security for women is to talk about the liberalization of abortion.
And of course, it doesn't stop women having abortions, so it then risks lives because women seek illegal abortions or have to travel. I'd imagine that was only going to increase that phenomenon.
Well, of course, Polish women do have abortions, and because of lack of sexual education and lack of access to contraceptives. For example, Poland is the only one country in the EU where you have to get a prescription for a morning after pill, which is complete nonsense. Women do have abortions. They or either travel abroad or they are buying medicaments through internet, which is dangerous. But with these new restrictions, women will also have a limited access to prenatal scanning, prenatal exams, and also prenatal medicine, which is also extremely dangerous to families and to fetuses that could be secured or cured during the pregnancy. So living in Central of Europe in 21st century, we are during 1 or 2 weeks moved to medieval age when you don't have the access to contraceptives, to medicine. Unbelievable. That's why we are so angry. That's why women and the young generation are protesting.
Yes, and it is remarkable because it is happening across other countries as well. And I mean, there are concerns in the United States that Roe versus Wade, again, that has been, enshrined for women's rights to abortion, could also be under scrutiny. Why do you think there is this pushback to, as you say, almost medieval times?
Well, I think we as women are very strong now, and it's very, very big problem for ultra-conservatives. And they are trying to find a way they can limit our freedom and our right to choose, right to decide, and to become powerful and really part of a regular part of society. For 100 years, we have a right to vote in Poland, and in many countries it's very similar. Men understood that we are power, and that's why you have those maniacs that are trying to limit our right on the most crucial thing, decision upon our body. So I think it's kind of civilization war, but we as women, we would never give up, and we will fight for a better future for us and for our daughters.
Indeed.
As simple as that.
Exactly.
All over the world.
We watch from afar in support. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, and have a good day.
You too, Barbara. Thank you.